was 28 years old when I realized my family had been treating me like furniture for my entire life. Useful when needed, invisible when not, and never quite worthy of the spotlight. My name is Hazel, and I've spent most of my adult years building a boutique PR agency from nothing while my younger sister Melanie collected compliments like they were going out of style. But this story isn't about sibling rivalry. It's about the day I discovered that being the responsible one doesn't protect you from having your dreams stolen right out from under you. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday morning in March. Hazel! Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened. Melanie's voice practically vibrated through my phone speaker as I reviewed client contracts at my desk. Let me guess, you got that influencer deal with the skincare brand? No, silly. Will proposed. I set down my pen. Will was the investment banker she'd been dating for 8 months. Nice enough guy, came from old money, the kind of person who wore boat shoes unironically. That's wonderful, Mel. Congratulations. And get this, we've already booked the venue. Chateau Renard in Paris. Can you believe it? A French chateau wedding. My blood turned to ice water. What did you say? Chateau Renard. You know, that gorgeous place with the gardens and the chandeliers. We're having the ceremony in October. October 15th, actually. October 15th. The exact date I'd reserved 2 years ago when Stephen and I got engaged. The date that was supposed to be mine. Melanie, I said carefully. How exactly did you book Chateau Renard? Oh, it was so easy. They had this last-minute cancellation, and when I mentioned I was a Quinn, they were super accommodating. Apparently, someone with our name had already done all the preliminary work. Lucky, right? Lucky. Right. I hung up and immediately called the chateau. My French was rusty, but I managed to get through to the events coordinator. Bonjour, this is Hazel Quinn. I had a reservation for October 15th, and I need to confirm the details. Ah, Mademoiselle Quinn. We have been expecting your call. Your sister, she came to finalize the arrangements yesterday. Everything is proceeding as planned. My sister finalized my arrangements? She explained the change in bride. Very common, these family situations. She had all the correct information. Your booking number, your deposit confirmation. We assumed you had given permission. I stared at my computer screen, where I still had the original booking confirmation email saved. The one with my name. My deposit. My dream wedding that I'd spent 3 years saving for, even after Stephen got cold feet and called off our engagement 6 months ago. I need to speak with your manager, I said. 20 minutes later, I had the full story. Melanie had waltzed in with my booking number. Somehow she'd gotten access to my email and convinced them she was taking over the reservation. She'd even brought a copy of my deposit receipt. But here's the thing about being the responsible sister who actually reads contracts. I knew exactly what I'd signed. The final payment wasn't due until 30 days before the wedding, and the contract clearly stated that any changes to decor, catering, or ceremony details required approval from the original booking client. That would be me. I called Melanie back. Hey, I just spoke with the chateau, I said, keeping my voice level. There seems to be some confusion about the booking. Oh, that. Mom said you wouldn't mind since you're not even engaged anymore. I mean, you weren't going to use it, right? Actually, I was. I never cancelled the reservation. But, Hazel, be reasonable. You're single, and I'm getting married. It makes perfect sense for me to have it. It makes perfect sense for the person who booked and paid for it to have it. Don't be dramatic. Besides, Will's already told his parents about the chateau. His mother is so excited about the French theme. You wouldn't want to disappoint her, would you? That's when I knew. This wasn't just about a venue. This was about 28 years of being expected to step aside, to make room, to be the practical one who sacrifices so the golden child can shine. You're right, I said finally. I wouldn't want to disappoint anyone. See, I knew you'd understand. You're the best big sister ever. After I hung up, I sat in my office for a long time, staring out at the city skyline. Then I opened my laptop and started making a list. If Melanie wanted my chateau wedding, she could have it. Every last detail of it. I picked up my phone and called my best friend, Evangeline. Eva, it's me. Cancel your plans for the next 6 months. We have a wedding to plan. She did what? Evangeline's voice carried across the entire coffee shop. 3 people at nearby tables turned to stare. Keep your voice down, I hissed, sliding her latte across the table. And yes, she stole my wedding venue. Eva leaned forward, her dark eyes flashing. Hazel, this is insane. Even for your family, this is next-level crazy. It gets worse. I called my mum this morning. Oh no. What did Sarah say? I pulled out my phone and played the voicemail I'd recorded. My mother's voice filled the space between us, syrupy sweet with that edge of steel I knew so well. Hazel, darling, Melanie told me about your little conversation yesterday. I hope you're not planning to make a scene about this venue situation. Think of your sister's happiness. She's finally found someone wonderful, and Will's family has such high expectations. You know how important this wedding is for all of us. Don't let your disappointment ruin her moment. Eva's mouth fell open. She actually said, your little conversation? That's not even the best part. Listen to this. I scrolled to a text message and showed her the screen. Besides, you can always have a nice ceremony at the country club when you find someone new. Much more practical for your budget. Love you. Mom. I'm going to throw this coffee at someone, Ava muttered. Preferably your mother. Don't waste good coffee. I have a better idea. I pulled out a folder thick with documents. Ava raised an eyebrow. Please tell me you didn't do something illegal. Nothing illegal. Just thorough. I spread the papers across the table. Booking confirmation, deposit receipts, email correspondence, and most importantly, the original contract. Eva picked up the contract, scanning the pages. Okay, I see your name everywhere, but how does this help if Melanie already convinced them to switch? Look at clause 15. She read aloud. Final payment and all ceremony customizations must be approved by the original contracting party. Holy shit, Hazel. Language. Holy shit, Hazel. You still control everything. Every flower arrangement, every menu item, every single detail. The chateau can't change anything without my written approval. Ava was grinning now. So what's the plan? Simple. Melanie gets her dream wedding, exactly the way I design it. This is diabolical. I love it. But wait, what about the money? That place costs a fortune. I pulled out my business credit card, the black one reserved for major client events. I've been saving for this wedding for 3 years. The money's there. You're going to pay for your sister's wedding after she stole your venue? I'm going to pay for my wedding. She's just going to be the one wearing the dress. Ava stared at me for a long moment. You've changed. You know that? 6 months ago, you would have just rolled over and taken this. 6 months ago, I was still trying to be the good daughter. Turns out there's no prize for that. My phone buzzed with a text from Melanie. "Can you help with wedding planning? Mom says you're good at organizing stuff." I showed Eva the message. She snorted. "The audacity is breathtaking." "Perfect. I was hoping she'd ask." I typed back, "Of course. I'd love to help make your day special." "You're scary when you're calm like this," Eva said. "I'm not calm. I'm focused." I gathered up the papers and slid them back into the folder. "I need you to do something for me." "Name it." "Call your friend Marcus, the one who works at that fancy stationery place downtown. I need custom wedding invitations designed. Expensive ones." "What kind of invitations?" "The kind that will make Melanie feel like she's marrying royalty. Thick cardstock, gold foil, hand calligraphy. The works." Eva pulled out her phone. "What's the catch?" "The monogram. I want it to be subtle, but I want my initials worked into the design somehow. Maybe as part of the border pattern." "You want your initials on your sister's wedding invitations?" "I want my initials on my wedding invitations. She's just borrowing them." Eva was already dialing. "Marcus, it's Eva. I need a favor, and it involves making someone very sorry they messed with my best friend." While Eva talked to Marcus, I opened my laptop and started a new document. Melanie's Wedding, Master Plan. The first item on my list. Venue walkthrough. Confirm all vendor access codes and final approval rights. The second. Catering menu. Select all of Hazel's favorite dishes. The third. Floral arrangements. White peonies, Hazel's favorite, with subtle gold accents. My phone rang. The caller ID showed an international number. "Bonjour, Mademoiselle Quinn," came the familiar voice of the Chateau's events coordinator. "We wanted to confirm you will be attending the final walkthrough next week. As the contracting client, your approval is required for all final arrangements." "Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it." "Magnifique. And shall we prepare the usual suite for your stay?" I smiled. "Yes, please. The honeymoon suite will be perfect." "These napkins are gorgeous." Melanie held up the cream-colored linen, running her fingers over the delicate gold embroidery. "Look at this monogram work. It's so intricate." I smiled from across the bridal shop table. "I thought you'd like them. The designer said the intertwined letters represent eternal love." "H and M." She traced the golden threads. "Perfect for Melanie and—" "Wait." She squinted at the design. "This looks more like H and W." "It's definitely M and W," I said smoothly. "For Melanie and Will. The script style just makes the letters flow together." Eva kicked me under the table. I ignored her. "If you say so." Melanie set the napkin down. "You have such good taste, Hazel. I'm so glad you're helping with this." "Anything for my little sister?" My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Marcus from Eva's stationery shop. Your invitations are ready for pickup. The monogram came out beautifully. Very subtle integration of your initials into the border design." I quickly deleted the message before Melanie could see. "Who was that?" she asked. "Just a client. So, have you thought about the cake flavors?" "Will wants chocolate, but I was thinking something more elegant. What do you suggest?" "Lemon lavender. It's sophisticated and photographs beautifully." "Ooh, that sounds perfect. See, this is why I need you. You think of everything." Eva's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and stood up. "I need to take this. It's about that thing we discussed." She walked away, but I could still hear her voice. "Yes, I saw the Instagram posts. She's definitely overextending herself. No, Hazel doesn't know about the influencer contracts yet." Melanie was scrolling through her phone, not paying attention. "Oh my God, Hazel, look at this!" She showed me her screen, a series of Instagram stories featuring luxury wedding vendors, all tagged with Stu, Melanie, Will, Paris. "I've been working with this social media manager. She says if I document everything perfectly, I could get sponsorship deals to cover some of the costs. Isn't that amazing?" Sponsorship deals? Yeah, like if I tag the right vendors and get enough engagement, they might comp some services. The dress designer already said she'd give me a discount if I do a whole Getting Ready series. I kept my expression neutral. "That's smart. How much are you expecting to save?" "Maybe 30 or 40,000. The social media girl says destination weddings are huge right now, especially in France, and with Will's family connections, we're bound to get tons of views." Ava returned to the table, her face carefully blank. "Everything okay?" "Perfect," Melanie said. "I was just telling Hazel about my influencer strategy. This wedding is going to pay for itself." "Wow," Ava said. "That's quite an investment in your online presence." "It's not an investment, it's income. The manager already has me booked for 3 sponsored posts next week. Wedding planning content is so hot right now." My phone rang. The Chateau's number. "Excuse me, I should take this." I stepped outside the shop. "Bonjour, this is Hazel." "Mademoiselle Quinn, we have received your final menu selections and floral arrangements. Everything looks magnifique. But we wanted to confirm the final payment of 67,000 euros is due next week. Yes, that's correct. I'll wire the funds tomorrow." "Parfait. And you still wish to maintain final approval on all ceremony details?" "Absolutely. No changes without my written consent." "Bien sûr. Oh, and we have a small question about the seating arrangements. Your sister mentioned she may have additional guests, some social media personalities. This would require expanding the reception space." "Any changes to guest count need my approval first. Please don't make any modifications until I review them." "Of course, mademoiselle. We understand completely." I hung up and walked back inside. Melanie was showing Eva photos of elaborate centerpieces on Pinterest. "These crystal arrangements are stunning, but they're like $800 each. Think the florist would sponsor them?" "Maybe," Ava said. "But what if they don't? Do you have a backup plan?" "Oh, I'm not worried. Will's parents said they'd help with costs, and between the sponsorships and family contributions, we'll be fine." I sat back down. "Speaking of costs, have you gotten final quotes from all the vendors?" "Not yet. The Chateau coordinator said everything was handled through the original booking, so I don't need to worry about those details." "That's convenient," Eva said, shooting me a look. "I know, right? It's like everything's just falling into place. Sometimes I think the universe just wants me to have the perfect wedding." My phone buzzed with another text, this one from Stephen. "Saw Melanie's engagement announcement. Chateau Renard. Isn't that where we were going to? Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long moment, then put my phone away. "Hazel?" Melanie was waving her hand in front of my face. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Just tired. Wedding planning is exhausting." "Tell me about it, but it'll all be worth it. This is going to be the wedding of the century." Ava smiled sweetly. "I'm sure it will be unforgettable." Stephen was waiting at our old coffee spot when I arrived, looking exactly the same except for the new lines around his eyes. He stood when he saw me, that familiar, hesitant smile crossing his face. "Hazel, thanks for meeting me. You said it was important." I slid into the booth across from him, keeping my voice neutral. I saw the announcement about Melanie's wedding. Chateau Renard. He paused. That's our venue. Was our venue. Things change. Do they? He leaned forward, because I've been thinking about us a lot lately, about what I threw away. Stephen, don't. Just hear me out. I know I hurt you. I know I was an idiot for getting scared about marriage. But seeing that announcement, knowing she's having the wedding we planned. He ran his hands through his hair. It made me realize what I lost. You lost it 6 months ago when you decided you weren't ready for commitment. I'm not interested in being your backup plan. That's not what this is, isn't it? You're only here because seeing my sister's engagement reminded you I exist. The barista called out an order, breaking the tension. Stephen waited until she moved away. You're different, he said quietly. Harder. I'm focused. On what? Revenge? I met his eyes. On myself, for the first time in my life. Hazel, whatever you're planning with this wedding. I'm not planning anything. I'm just helping my sister have her special day. Right. He didn't believe me. And the fact that you're still listed as the primary contact for the venue is just a coincidence? I stood up. This conversation is over. Wait. He grabbed my wrist gently. I still love you. Then you should have thought about that before you broke our engagement. I pulled away and walked out, leaving him sitting there with his regrets. You look like you want to murder someone, Ava said when I walked into my apartment that evening. Stephen wants to get back together. Of course he does. Men always want what they can't have. She was sprawled on my couch, surrounded by wedding planning materials. Speaking of which, your mother called. What did she want? Bridesmaid dress fitting tomorrow. Apparently she picked out something perfect for you. Let me guess. Hideous? She specifically mentioned the color taupe. I groaned and collapsed into my chair. Taupe. The color of surrender. Also, Melanie's been texting you non-stop. Something about the rehearsal dinner speech? I checked my phone. 7 missed messages from my sister. Hazel, Mom says you should give a speech at the rehearsal dinner. Something sweet about how happy you are for me. Maybe talk about how I've always been the romantic one in the family. And how you're so proud to see me find my soulmate. Nothing too long, though. People want to hear from Will's family, too. Can you write something by tomorrow? You're so good with words. Love you, big sis. This is going to be perfect. Eva read over my shoulder. She wants you to write a speech about how wonderful she is at the rehearsal dinner for the wedding she stole from you. Of course she does. Are you going to do it? Absolutely. I opened my laptop. I'm going to write her the most memorable speech of her life. Ava grinned. This should be good. The next morning, I stood in the bridal shop dressing room, staring at myself in the mirror. The taupe dress was worse than I'd imagined. Shapeless, unflattering, and the exact color of wet cement. You look lovely, dear, my mother said from outside the curtain. Very understated. Understated was code for invisible, perfect for the sister who was supposed to fade into the background. It's very taupe, I said. Exactly. We don't want you upstaging the bride, do we? Melanie poked her head around the curtain. Oh, wow, Hazel. That's so practical. Just like me, right? I didn't mean it like that. But her smile said otherwise. I changed back into my regular clothes and joined them in the main area. Melanie was trying on her veil, a cascade of French lace that probably cost more than most people's cars. "Isn't it gorgeous?" She spun around. "The designer said it's one of a kind." "Beautiful," I agreed. "Perfect for your special day." "Speaking of which, did you finish the speech?" I did. I pulled up my phone. "Want to hear it?" "Yes, read it." I cleared my throat. "Good evening, everyone. I'm Hazel, Melanie's older sister. I've watched Melanie my whole life, and I can honestly say she's always known how to get exactly what she wants." Melanie beamed. "That's sweet." "She has this incredible ability to see something beautiful and make it hers, no matter who might have had it first." My mother nodded approvingly. "Very nice, dear. Tonight, we celebrate Melanie's talent for taking life's most precious gifts and making them her own. It's truly a gift." "Oh, Hazel." Melanie hugged me. "You're the best sister ever." Ava, who had been listening from across the shop, caught my eye and smirked. "I'm just getting started," I said. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown French number. "Package delivered to Chateau Renard Concierge. Marked Bride Surprise. Reveal at Bouquet Toss as requested. H. Quinn Enterprises." I smiled and put my phone away. "What was that?" Melanie asked. "Just a little surprise for your wedding day." The morning of October 15th dawned crisp and golden in the French countryside. I stood on the balcony of my suite at Chateau Renard, watching the staff arrange white peonies along the ceremony aisle, exactly as I'd specified in my original wedding plans 3 years ago. "Mademoiselle Quinn!" A young woman in a black uniform appeared at my door. "The florist wishes to confirm the final arrangements." "Everything looks perfect," I said. "Exactly as ordered." She smiled and hurried away. Through the chateau's ancient windows, I could see guests beginning to arrive in the courtyard below. Will's family stepped out of a black Mercedes, his mother resplendent in navy silk. My mother emerged from a taxi, already fussing with her hair. Ava knocked and entered without waiting for an answer. "Holy shit, Hazel! This place is incredible!" Language. And yes, it is. "I can't believe you're actually going through with this." She joined me on the balcony. "Look at all those people down there, completely clueless about what's coming." "Nothing's coming. It's just a wedding." "Right. A wedding where every single detail was chosen by someone other than the bride." Ava gestured toward the ceremony space. "Those are your flowers, your color scheme, your menu, your music selection." Melanie approved everything. "Because she has no idea you picked it all." A horse-drawn carriage rolled up the chateau's circular drive, decorated with cascading white ribbons and more peonies. The driver wore a traditional French uniform, complete with a top hat. "Even the transportation was your idea," Ava said. "She said she wanted fairy tale romance." I gave her fairy tale romance. My phone buzzed. Text from Melanie. "Hazel, where are you? I need help with my dress." "Duty calls," I said, smoothing down my taupe bridesmaid dress. Melanie's bridal suite was chaos. Makeup artists, hairstylists, and photographers crowded around her while she sat in a white silk robe, looking radiant and slightly overwhelmed. "There you are." She grabbed my hand. "Isn't this amazing? Look at these flowers." White peonies filled every corner of the room, their sweet scent mixing with expensive perfume and hairspray. "They're beautiful," I said. "Your favorite?" "I guess. I mean, they're so elegant. The florist said they represent honor and wealth. Perfect for today." "Perfect," I agreed. Will appeared in the doorway, looking handsome in his morning coat. Sorry to interrupt, but my groomsmen are asking about the ceremony timeline. Everything starts at 4, I said. Cocktails in the garden afterward, dinner at 7. Thanks, Hazel. I don't know how we would have managed this without you. He paused. Actually, can I talk to you for a second? Privately? We stepped into the hallway. Will looked uncomfortable. Is everything okay? I asked. It's probably nothing, but some of the vendors have been confused about who's in charge. The caterer asked me 3 times if I was sure about the menu changes, and the musician kept mentioning someone named H. Quinn. H. Quinn? Yeah, he said all the music selections came from H. Quinn's original request. I figured it was a typo or something, but then the florist said the same thing. I kept my expression neutral. That is strange. Maybe there was a mix-up with the booking system. Maybe. He didn't look convinced. Melanie mentioned you helped a lot with the planning. Did you work directly with the vendors? I made some suggestions. Melanie approved everything. Right. Of course. He smiled, but his eyes remained troubled. Thanks again for all your help. The ceremony was flawless. Melanie floated down the aisle in her designer gown, the French countryside providing a perfect backdrop. The string quartet played Pachelbel's canon. My choice, though Melanie had nodded along when I suggested it. I stood at the altar in my hideous taupe dress, watching my sister marry her prince in the wedding I'd designed down to the last detail. The irony was almost poetic. Do you, Melanie, take Will to be your husband? The officiant asked. I do, she said, her voice carrying across the garden. The guests erupted in applause. Rice flew through the air. Biodegradable rice, because I'd specifically requested the eco-friendly option. During cocktail hour, I circulated among the guests, accepting compliments about the beautiful ceremony. Whoever planned this has exquisite taste, Will's aunt said. The attention to detail is remarkable. I'll pass that along to Melanie, I replied. Such a thoughtful bride. And these canapes are divine. Lemon herb salmon on brioche points. My favorite appetizer from the original menu I'd planned with Stephen. Eva appeared at my elbow. How are you holding up? Fine. It's a lovely wedding. Your wedding. Melanie's wedding. With your flowers, your food, your music, and your venue. A server approached with a silver tray. Mademoiselle Quinn, this just arrived for you. He handed me a cream envelope with my name written in elegant script. Inside was a receipt from the Chateau's concierge service. Final payment confirmation. Client, Hazel Quinn, amount, $67,000. Service, complete wedding package. Ava read over my shoulder. Oh, shit. What's wrong? Melanie appeared beside us, champagne flute in hand, looking radiant. Nothing's wrong, I said, folding the receipt. Just wedding coordinator stuff. You're amazing, handling all these details. I'm so lucky to have you as a sister. She hugged me, and for a moment I almost felt guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, the DJ announced, it's time for the bouquet toss. All the single women gathered on the chateau's terrace as Melanie climbed onto a small platform, her wedding dress billowing in the evening breeze. She held the bouquet high, white peonies and baby's breath tied with silk ribbon. Are you ready, ladies? She called out, grinning. I stood at the back of the group, watching Ava position herself strategically in the middle. Will's female cousins giggled and jostled for the best spots. 1, 2, 3. Melanie launched the bouquet into the air. It sailed over the reaching hands and landed squarely in Eva's arms, as planned. She caught it with theatrical surprise. "Ava!" Melanie clapped. "You're next!" The crowd cheered and began to disperse, but I noticed a man in a chateau uniform approaching the platform with a silver tray. My pulse quickened. "Excusez-moi, Mademoiselle Melanie." The maître d' spoke with a heavy French accent. "I have something for your sister." "For Hazel?" Melanie looked confused. "What is it?" "A presentation from the management for our valued client." Will stepped closer, his brow furrowed. "Valued client?" The maître d' turned toward me with a formal bow. "Mademoiselle Hazel Quinn, as the sole contracting client for Chateau Renard, we trust your experience has been magnifique." A hush fell over the nearby guests. I could hear my mother's sharp intake of breath from somewhere behind me. "What did he just say?" Will's voice cut through the silence. The maître d' lifted a cream envelope from his silver tray and extended it toward me. "Your final receipt, Mademoiselle Quinn. Everything has been completed to your specifications." I took the envelope with steady hands. Inside was an itemized bill for $67,000, clearly marked "paid in full," with my name as the client. "I don't understand," Melanie said, her voice small. "Hazel, what is this?" The crowd had gone completely quiet. 200 guests stood frozen, champagne glasses halfway to their lips, all eyes on me. Will snatched the receipt from my hands. His face went white as he read it. "This says you paid for everything. The venue, the catering, the flowers, all of it." "There must be some mistake," my mother said, pushing through the crowd. "Melanie, darling, tell them there's been a mistake." But Melanie was staring at me with dawning horror. "The booking number! You gave me the booking number!" "Actually, you took it from my email," I said calmly. "Your email?" Will's voice was getting louder. "What the hell is going on here?" Josh, Will's best man, stepped forward. "Maybe we should take this somewhere private." "No." I walked toward the microphone stand that had been set up for toasts. "I think everyone should hear this." "Hazel, don't," my mother hissed. I tapped the microphone. The sound echoed across the terrace. "May I have everyone's attention, please?" The remaining conversations died instantly. Every face turned toward me. "I know this is unusual, but there's something I need to say." Melanie was shaking her head frantically. "Hazel, please don't do this." For those of you who don't know me, I'm Hazel, Melanie's older sister, the one in the lovely taupe dress. A few nervous chuckles rippled through the crowd. "I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate this beautiful wedding, and I do mean beautiful. Every detail has been carefully planned and executed." Will was pulling at his collar. "Hazel, what are you doing?" "I'm giving a speech, just like Melanie asked me to." I smiled at my sister, who looked like she might faint. "You see, this venue holds special meaning for me. I booked Chateau Renard 3 years ago for my own wedding." Gasps erupted from the crowd. My mother's face had gone ashen. "When that engagement ended, I kept the reservation. Call it hope, call it stubbornness. But I never cancelled." "Oh my God," someone whispered. "Imagine my surprise when my sister announced she was getting married here. On my date, with my booking number." Will turned to stare at Melanie. "You said it was a last-minute cancellation." "It was!" Melanie's voice cracked. "I mean, she wasn't using it." "The beautiful thing about contracts," I continued, is that they're very specific about who has control. Every flower you see, every dish you've eaten, every song that's played tonight, I chose them all. The crowd was completely silent now. Even the staff had stopped moving. So, when people compliment the exquisite taste and attention to detail, they're absolutely right. This is exactly the wedding I always dreamed of. I paused, letting that sink in. The only thing I didn't plan was the bride. Melanie burst into tears. Will looked like he'd been punched in the stomach. But don't worry, I said, my voice still perfectly calm. I'm not here to ruin anyone's special day. I just wanted to make sure credit was given where credit was due. I set the microphone back in its stand and smiled at the sea of shocked faces. Now, who's ready for dinner? The menu is absolutely divine. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. Then Will exploded. Are you telling me this entire wedding is a lie? His voice carried across the terrace, causing several guests to step back. Not a lie, I said calmly. Just not what you thought it was. Hazel, stop this right now, my mother commanded, her face flushed with embarrassment. You're making a scene. Am I? I thought I was just clarifying some confusion about the billing. Melanie was sobbing now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. You planned this. You planned all of this. I planned a wedding, yes, a beautiful one, don't you think? Will grabbed the receipt from where he'd dropped it. 67,000 euros. You paid 67,000 euros for your sister's wedding. For my wedding, I corrected. She just happened to be wearing the dress. This is insane. Will turned to Melanie. Did you know? Did you know she was paying for everything? No, I swear I didn't know. Melanie's voice was barely audible through her tears. But you did know it was her venue, Ava said, stepping forward. You knew she had it booked first. Stay out of this, Ava, my mother snapped. Actually, no. I've watched this family treat Hazel like garbage for years, and I'm done staying quiet. Josh, Will's best man, cleared his throat. Maybe we should move this conversation somewhere private. Why? I asked. Everyone's already here. They've eaten the food, admired the flowers, enjoyed the music. They might as well know who provided it. Will's mother pushed through the crowd, her navy dress impeccable despite the chaos. William, what is happening here? Apparently, my wife's sister paid for our entire wedding without telling us. Your wife? I laughed. That's interesting, because technically, this is still my event. My name is on every contract, every vendor agreement, every service order. The maître d' appeared again, looking deeply uncomfortable. Pardonnez-moi, but there is also the matter of the honeymoon suite. What about it? Will demanded. It is reserved under Mademoiselle Hazel's name, as is the champagne service and the late checkout tomorrow. Melanie's sobs grew louder. Hazel, please, I'm begging you, don't do this. Do what? I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing here in my lovely taupe dress, watching everyone enjoy the party I threw. You're destroying my marriage. Your marriage? I tilted my head. Interesting choice of words, because last I checked, the person who books and pays for a wedding typically gets to decide what kind of event it is. Will was pacing now, running his hands through his hair. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. What's crazy, Eva said, is stealing someone's wedding venue and then acting shocked when they don't just roll over and take it. I didn't steal anything, Melanie screamed. She wasn't even engaged anymore. So, that made it yours by default? My mother stepped between us. Enough! Hazel, you've made your point. Now stop this nonsense and let your sister enjoy her wedding day. Her wedding day? I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. This is a text from the chateau's concierge. Would you like me to read it? Hazel, don't, Melanie whispered. Mademoiselle Quinn, as requested, we have prepared the master suite for your stay. All amenities have been charged to your account, including the couple's massage tomorrow morning and the private breakfast service. Will stopped pacing. Couple's massage? Oh, yes. I booked all the honeymoon extras. Spa treatments, private dinners, even a hot air balloon ride over the Loire Valley. All under my name, of course. Cancel them, Will said through gritted teeth. Cancel all of it. I can't do that. What do you mean you can't? I mean the contracts are non-refundable. The money's already been spent. I smiled sweetly. But don't worry. I'm sure you and Melanie will find somewhere else to spend your wedding night. The crowd had been watching this exchange like a tennis match. Now murmurs started spreading through the guests. Did she really pay for everything? The sister planned the whole wedding. This is better than reality TV. Will's father stepped forward, his face grim. Son, I think we need to discuss this privately. No, Will said, his voice hollow. I think we need to discuss this right here, in front of everyone, since that seems to be how this family handles things. He turned to Melanie. Did you know this was her venue when you booked it? Melanie nodded miserably. Did you know she had paid deposits? Another nod. Did you care? I thought she'd understand. She's always been the practical one. I thought she'd want me to be happy. At her expense? She wasn't using it. Will stared at his new wife for a long moment. Then he pulled off his wedding ring and set it on the nearest table. I can't do this, he said quietly. I can't be married to someone who would do this to her own sister. Will, no! Melanie lunged for him, but he stepped back. The marriage is over, Melanie, before it even started. He walked away, his groomsmen following. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. I picked up the bouquet Ava had caught and walked over to my sobbing sister. Here, I said, holding it out to her. You always did like getting things that belonged to other people. The chateau's staff began quietly clearing tables as guests filtered away in uncomfortable clusters, whispering among themselves. Will's family left without a word, their black Mercedes disappearing down the tree-lined drive. My mother stood frozen in the middle of the terrace, staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Are you happy now? She finally asked. You've ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything, Mom. I just stopped pretending. Your sister is heartbroken. My sister stole my wedding and got caught. There's a difference. Melanie sat crumpled on the platform steps, still in her designer gown, mascara streaking her face. Ava approached her cautiously. Melanie, do you need help getting out of that dress? Don't touch me, Melanie snapped. This is all your fault, too. You helped her. Actually, I just watched her help herself for once. The maître d' appeared beside me with a clipboard. Mademoiselle Quinn, we have prepared your suite as requested. Will there be anything else you need this evening? Just the usual turn-down service, thank you. Of course, and tomorrow's breakfast will be served on the private terrace at 9. My mother's eyes widened. You're staying? After what you've done? I paid for the honeymoon suite. I'm going to use it. This is sick, Hazel. Even for you, this is sick. What sick is expecting me to smile and play along while my family treats me like a doormat? Melanie looked up from the steps, her face blotchy and swollen. I hate you. I will never forgive you for this. Good. That makes us even. Even? How are we even? You took something that belonged to me and acted like you deserved it. I took it back. We're even. You destroyed my marriage. Your marriage destroyed itself the minute Will realized what kind of person he married. Ava checked her phone. The car to the airport is here for anyone who wants to leave tonight. I'm going, my mother announced. I can't look at you right now, Hazel. That's fine. You've had plenty of practice not looking at me. She gathered her purse and coat, then paused. When you're ready to apologize for this disaster, you know where to find me. I won't be apologizing. Then don't bother coming home. I wasn't planning to. After she left, Melanie struggled to her feet, the massive wedding dress making her movements clumsy. I need help with these buttons, she said to no one in particular. I'll help, Ava offered. I said don't touch me. Fine. Figure it out yourself. Melanie stumbled toward the chateau entrance, dragging her train behind her. She stopped at the doorway and turned back. You think you've won something, but you haven't. You're still alone, Hazel. You're still the bitter older sister who can't find love. Maybe, but I'm the bitter older sister who just threw the wedding of the century, and everyone will remember that. She disappeared inside, leaving Ava and me alone on the terrace. So, Ava said, settling into one of the abandoned chairs. How does it feel? Expensive. That's not what I meant. I looked out over the chateau grounds, the fairy lights twinkling in the ancient oak trees. It feels like the first honest thing I've done in years. No regrets? About the money? No. About the public humiliation? No. About finally standing up for myself? I paused. Definitely no. Eva raised her champagne glass. To the most epic revenge I've ever witnessed. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. Same thing, different packaging. My phone buzzed with notifications. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The wedding guests were already posting about what they'd witnessed. You're going to be famous, Eva said, reading over my shoulder. Sister pays for wedding, exposes bride at altar. This is going viral. Great, just what my PR firm needs. Are you kidding? This is the best advertising you could ask for. Hazel Quinn, the woman who plans weddings so perfect, she'll steal them back. I laughed, despite everything. That's terrible. That's brilliant. You'll have clients lining up around the block. A text came through from an unknown number. Saw what happened at your sister's wedding. Interested in discussing a business opportunity. Rebecca Martinez, celebrity wedding planner. Then another. Holy shit, you're my hero. Can we talk about a documentary deal? Sarah Kim, Netflix. And another. Planning my daughter's wedding. Need someone with your attention to detail. Money, no object. Patricia Worthington. Ava peered at my screen. Looks like destroying your sister's marriage was good for business. I didn't destroy her marriage. I just revealed what was already broken. Same result. I put my phone away and stood up. I'm going to bed, in my honeymoon suite, with my Egyptian cotton sheets and my champagne service. Alone. Alone, and for the first time in my life I'm perfectly fine with that. I walked toward the chateau entrance, then stopped and turned back. Eva? Yeah. Thanks for catching the bouquet. That was a nice touch. Thanks for letting me watch you burn it all down. That was therapeutic. I smiled and headed inside, leaving the wreckage of Melanie's perfect day scattered across the terrace like confetti in the wind.